now with all the stories making the headlines at home and around the world. It's the ITV Evening News.
Iran says it shot down a US fighter jet. These pictures show debris from the plane, but what about the crew? Right now, both the US and Iran are searching for a missing pilot. Also tonight, the Artemis astronauts become the first humans to leave Earth's orbit for more than 50 years. The gravity of it not lost.
Trust us, you look amazing. You look beautiful.
After these scenes of teenagers storming shops, the boss of M&S calls for a crackdown on retail crime. And the world premiere of what could be a brand new dinosaur species. But exactly how big is it?
A little bit gigantic than me.
This is ITV News with Yasmin Bodalbhai.
Good evening. American forces are carrying out an urgent search and rescue operation after a fighter jet was shot down over Iran. Iranian state TV has shown images of debris with an ominous message that a reward has been offered for the capture of the plane's crew. US officials say one pilot has been rescued, but that another remains missing. Our correspondent Romilly Weeks has the latest.
Despite President Trump's frequent assertions about the war going all America's way, paraded on Iranian state TV, this mangled wreckage of a downed US fighter jet, providing a devastating counter-narrative. The Iranians claim this is the wreckage of a US jet shot down over the south of the country. Its distinctive marking suggests it's an F-15 Strike Eagle. Instructions in English clearly visible, and in this shot, one of its ejector seats lying abandoned in the sand. F-15s like this one carry a two-person crew. US officials say one crew member has been rescued alive and is receiving medical treatment, and a huge US search and rescue operation is still underway and at enormous risk for the other.
It's a high risk but a high value mission. This really becomes, the main focus of whatever, U.S. forces and Israeli forces were doing up to this point. It's almost as if all eyes focus now on getting that crew back home safe and sound.
This footage appears to show part of that operation. 2 helicopters and a refueling plane over Iran, where the stakes have been raised by this announcement on Iranian TV. The newsreader promising locals a bounty if they capture the American pilots. The risks for President Trump could not be higher. He's repeatedly claimed Iran's air defenses have been destroyed, but the Iranians are still showing they have the means and desire to continue the fight. Romilly Weeks, ITV News.
The astronauts on the Artemis mission to the moon have left the Earth's orbit, becoming the first humans to do so in more than 50 years. In the early hours of this morning, they fired their engines and set a course for the moon. It will take them several days to get there, but in their first live interviews from space, the 4 adventurers spoke of the excitement and wonder of their journey so far. Sabah Chowdhury reports.
3, 2, 1, booster ignition, and liftoff.
Now on the second day of the Artemis 2 mission,
we have the start of the translunar injection burn that will send the crew around the moon.
The Orion blasting away from Earth.
That was great up here.
For the first time in 50 years.
I am so excited to be able to tell you that for the first time since 1972, during Apollo 17, human beings have left Earth orbit.
We all wanted to give a shout out to our families first, because
4 astronauts on a 4-day journey around the far side of the moon and back again. The crew are travelling at 24,000 miles per hour, and so far, so good. That's until the toilet almost broke.
I'm the space plumber. I'm proud to call myself the space plumber. I like to say that it is probably the most important piece of equipment on board. So we were all breathing a sigh of relief when it turned out to be just fine. It was just an issue, I think, of sitting for a long time and needing a little time to warm up.
Teething issues.
for a crew taking spaceflight beyond where it's been for decades.
I gotta tell you, there is nothing normal about this. Sending 4 humans 250,000 miles away is a Herculean effort, and we are now just realizing the gravity of that.
And a message for people on Earth, from NASA's first person of colour to travel around the moon.
Trust us. You look amazing. You look beautiful. And from up here, you also look like one thing. You know, Homo sapiens is all of us, no matter where you're from or you know, what you look like. We're all one people.
A sentiment captured in this photo released by NASA. Another humbling reminder of just how small Earth really is.
The crew is awake.
And now, as the crew start a new day, there's still 160,000 miles to go until their final destination. Sabah Chowdhury, ITV News.
Police have named a 14-year-old boy shot dead in southeast London. Egosa Ogbibor died yesterday afternoon in Woolwich. 3 other teenagers have been arrested on suspicion of murder. Aisha Zahid is at the scene for us this evening. And Aisha, what happened there?
Well, police responded to reports of a shooting here on Lord Warwick Street in Woolwich yesterday afternoon, just after 3:30 p.m. The Metropolitan Police have since confirmed a 14-year-old teenage boy was shot dead. He's been named as Egosa Ogbibor. He was treated by paramedics but died at the scene, and his family have been informed they're being supported by specialist officers. Now, the Met Police have said the investigation is continuing at pace. They've already made several arrests. Arresting a 14-year-old, 16-year-old and 18-year-old on suspicion of murder. They've provided reassurance to the community as well, saying that there will be a heightened police presence in the area today and over the coming days, and they're also appealing to the public for any information they may have. They're asking for anyone who was in the area yesterday afternoon who might have any information to get in touch, as well as anyone who may have any CCTV or dashcam footage.
OK, Aisha, thank you. Bosses at Marks and Spencer have claimed that retail crime is becoming more brazen and more aggressive. The companies urge the government to do more to prevent shoplifting and violence against its staff. It's after huge groups of young people stormed into shops in London and Birmingham as part of a social media trend. Mark McQuillan reports.
These were the scenes in South London this week, which have led to calls for tougher action. With a leading retailer telling ITV News, crime feels like it's getting worse.
In the last week, we've had a security guard have ammonia thrown in their face. We've had an offender with an angle grinder go into store.
M&S say they're investing tens of millions into security, but more needs to be done.
Our colleagues are increasingly fearful. The levels of violence and intimidation and crime that they're experiencing in the stores seems to be going up. And so our call is for ministers and mayors to make sure that police forces have the resources and the tools to tackle what our colleagues are telling us is a growing problem.
What happened in Clapham is far from isolated. Disorder and disruption in Birmingham city centre too in recent days, fuelled by so-called link-ups on social media.
I think the key thing is for parents, carers, speak to their young people, make sure they understand what they're doing, what they're going to, and for young people to understand the consequences. They may think they're being pretty cool and clever doing this, but you either get arrested at the time or you get arrested subsequently, so don't do it.
The antisocial behaviour seen here on Clapham High Street in recent days has brought retail crime into sharper focus. The Met Police say it's a top priority and they've made improvements in dealing with it through technology, working closely with retailers and targeting repeat offenders. While the Mayor of London says he backs that approach, and £1.26 billion of funding is helping the Met continue to tackle the issue.
The government say police are being given greater powers on shoplifting. Events of recent days highlight just how big a challenge they face. Mark McQuillan, ITV News.
Trials to help treat dementia are struggling to get off the ground because of a shortage of participants. Currently, around 1 million people in the UK live with dementia, but hopes of finding a cure are being held back because of a lack of volunteers. Our science correspondent Martin Stew reports.
She was always in charge and knowing what was going on.
Dementia is robbing Heather's mum of her memories.
She never forgot things. She never... Sorry.
It's hard, isn't it? It's to see them changing in front of you.
Yes. But, you know, there's still her. She's still got a lovely, bright sense of humour and can have a laugh about things.
Nearly 1 million people, like Heather's mum, are living with dementia in the UK. But 25 times fewer people take part in treatment trials for the condition than they do for cancer.
Hi, Heather. Do come in. Hi.
Now researchers are trying to set up a database of volunteers, including Heather, to help.
Being very selfish about it, I sort of feel I'm doomed, you know, because both parents have mental decline within the dementia range of things, so my chances are pretty high, which is why I want to do things like this and be involved in research.
There is hope. 138 new treatments were trialled last year alone.
There's lots of promise from studies in animals. There's always hope from early studies in people, but it's only whether we test whether these treatments prevent the disease or treat the disease that we really know that they work. So the more trials we have, the more shots on goal we've got, and the more likely we are to find a treatment that works.
So if you could just stand on the scales for me and just stay as still as you can.
People like Jacqueline,
Thank you very much.
who signed up for the REACT study during the pandemic, are being invited to have their blood pressure, weight and bloods monitored.
It's very sad to see a loved one disappear into a state of oblivion. So if there is some way that my participation can help, then that's a great thing.
The aim is 10,000 volunteers by next year.
One of the things that slows it down is finding these people. So the fact that we already have them ready to go means that we can slot them straight in.
Even so, trials can take years, which is why Heather's trying everything she can to keep her brain active. Martin Stew, ITV News.
With the Easter weekend well underway, travellers are being warned of disruption throughout the holiday period thanks to a combination of planned engineering works and stormy weather. Already there are no trains on the West Coast main line out of London Euston for 6 days due to major upgrade work. On the same line, there's also disruption between Preston and Carlisle. And one national lottery player in the London borough of Bexley is missing out on what could have been a great Easter. A £10.6 million jackpot has gone unclaimed, with the 180-day deadline expiring today. Finally, this evening, a museum in Essex is the first in the world to display what could be a brand new dinosaur. The 6-metre-long fossil, which scientists have marvelled at because of how complete it is, went on display in Colchester today. It's nicknamed Juliosaurus after a relative of the specimen's owner, but scientists are yet to give it an official name. So what could it be called? Jake Robson went to the opening day of the exhibition to find out what people there think.
154 million years ago, this dinosaur is thought to have roamed planet Earth. And now its latest stop is here in Colchester, recovered from Wyoming in America in 2020, and currently nicknamed Juliosaurus. It's the first time a dinosaur of this size has been displayed in Essex.
Somebody that came into my place of work told me about it. I like dinosaurs, and they saw my mug that had dinosaurs on it, so they told me about it.
A little bit gigantic, aren't they?
Oh, it's amazing. It's so complete and, yeah, it's lovely.
At 6 metres long, it's thought to have weighed around 600 kilograms. Experts have called it scientifically exceptional because of how intact the fossil was when it was unearthed.
This specimen is international appeal. There are not many places in the UK at the moment that have real skeletons like this on display of dinosaurs. So the nearest places someone would have to go to would be Oxford, Cambridge, or the Natural History Museum.
Because this fossil is so complete and so well preserved, researchers expect to learn more about how it lived, moved and hunted. But one thing still missing is an official name for the dinosaur. So I managed to get a few suggestions.
Anasaurusy.
Lovely.
I think I'd have to call it something random like Bob.
I think it should be named Wyomosaurus or something.
I'd name it after myself, Lorosaurus.
It's not very often that a dino visits for Easter. Jake Robson, ITV News, Colchester.
And that is it for now. There's more on our top story in the search for the US pilot online at itv.com/news. The late news is at 10:30. Until then, do have a very nice evening. Bye-bye.